Women are about to lose their minds. So there's a lot of things on the horizon right now. We know that raising children is extremely expensive. We're looking at what inflation is doing to the economy right now. People just don't have money like they used to. They're struggling with with paying high interest rates, stagnating wages. It's hard out there, especially for women. Most men walking away right now, though, are finding themselves in an interesting place. I said this before many times that the average man could live happily in a shoebox at the side of the road. Well, this is some intriguing stuff. For a long time, men have been finding themselves in a situation where, women, they go out, they have children with, Chad, Tyrone, Ray, Pookie, Enrique, Little Poncho, because we know they love Little Poncho. They love Little Poncho. And then after they have children with these men, they go and look for a plan B guy who has his life together that needs to step in then and take care of these children that don't even belong to him. And this is something that unfortunately happens not only in Western society, but it's also happening in the East. You have a lot of men who go to the Philippines, they meet a Filipino who's beautiful, and then they find out afterwards that, oh, she has children. She does not tell him right away. She'll actually wait a while before she tells him that she has children. And, him being a sap that he is, he does not ask up front if she has children. And just to make this very clear, if you do ask a Filipina, do you have children, and she says that she doesn't, and then you keep dating her, and later on you find out that she does, and then she starts crying and says, she eventually tells you, and she starts crying and saying that, she didn't tell you before when you asked her, she lied because she was afraid that she was going to lose you, and she really liked you. No, that's a terrible basis for a relationship. If she feels like she has to lie to keep you, that she never actually, just to be, you definitely know that she never really liked you, and it was all about its desperation. And now she's trying to pull on your heartstring and manipulate you into staying in the relationship. And a lot of men in Western society are such simps that they'll end up falling for it because they've never been in a relationship with a woman who even appreciates them. So they meet a woman overseas who cooks for them, cleans for them, make sure that their balls, that their bellies are full and their balls are empty, and now they think that she's the perfect woman, and they're willing to overlook lies and deceit when they really shouldn't. Well, now things are really changing. When I say women are about to lose their minds, I mean women are about to lose their minds because there's a new drug that will evidently be available soon, and it's been tested for a number of years. And the crazy thing regarding it is that it's been proven to, as far as we can see, to be safe and extremely effective. You're probably wondering, what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about a male contraceptive, and the findings are absolutely startling. So there's a video I'm going to be showing you guys, and it's titled "Contraceptive Gel for Men Could Be a Game Changer." This video was actually published on March 23rd, 2022. So as you can see, this video is actually more than 2 years old at this point. This is a drug that they've been working on for a number of years. I know you guys have been hearing about these male contraceptive drugs for years, and a lot of them have failed. There was one specific drug that was effective, but they found that a lot of men could not handle it because it caused cramping. There was another drug that they would that they would inject into one of the tubes that carry sperm to the testes, and it would basically block the flow of sperm. And they said that was effective, but again, most men, if they're going to go that far, they'll just get the snip. But this drug actually works very, very differently. So this drug that they've been developing is a drug that men actually just rub onto their arm. It's a gel. It's a daily gel that men just rub onto their arm every single day, and it basically stops them from being able to have children. So it's male contraceptive for men, and they've been testing it for years, and they've found that it's quite effective. Now, an article just came out about it recently, and so again, this video is from 2 years ago. However, the the drug is now making headlines because 2 years later, they're not only finding that it's safe and effective, they're finding that it's even more effective than female birth control. So let's jump into the video so you guys understand what I'm talking about.
So normally I just grab the gel, you just open it, and then you would squirt it out onto your hand and just start applying it to your shoulders.
For about a year, this has been a part of Daniel Castaneda's daily routine.
It absorbs in about a minute or two.
No, it's not a skincare product.
It's been nice for me not to have to worry about it, and it's also fun just to tell my friends, like, oh, I'm actually not on birth control, my partner is.
Daniel Castaneda and Nina Gonzalez are one of several couples currently participating in trials for this male contraceptive gel at UC Davis. If trials continue to be successful, the drug would be the first of its kind on the market.
Male contraception has always been that enigma. Can we figure out something that is not just condoms or permanent vasectomy procedures?
Dr. Mitchell Crennan is the Director of Family Planning and the lead study investigator at UC Davis Health. He says the gel works by combining two hormones, nesterone and testosterone.
Nesterone part just telling the body to stop stimulating the testis from doing what it does, which is making hormones and making sperm. And that's great. If it doesn't make sperm, then you can't cause a pregnancy.
The nesterone also tells the body to stop producing testosterone. Without it, men tend to lose energy, focus, and their sex drive, among other things. That's why testosterone is the second hormone in the gel.
We already have gels that are available on the market to help men who have naturally low testosterone. So that part in the gel isn't hard, it's getting the other part correct. And that's what's been the special part of this product.
I've heard this spiel before. Like Daniel and Nina, my wife and I are currently participants in this study. But before we committed, I had some of the same questions Daniel did.
Well, just whether it's going to work, right? I mean, am I going to be able to have children if I want to have children down the line? And so that was a big thing for me.
The gel was developed by the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development. UC Davis joined several other locations around the world as a trial site in phase 2 of testing, and the drug has already shown some early signs of success. Men in the study are monitored while using the gel to make sure it's working as intended to lower their sperm count.
And there is a very small percentage of people who don't suppress, but the important thing is we don't let anybody use this as a contraceptive until we're certain that their counts are suppressed incredibly low.
And after they stop using the gel to make sure their sperm counts go back to normal.
Which again takes anywhere from 2 to 6 months.
So does it seem to be working? Dr. Crennan says results so far have been very good.
In men who use the gel and their sperm counts go down to very low levels, in fact they go down pretty much to zero, we find that with continued use of the gel, we're not seeing anything that shows any signs of pregnancy or not finding any pregnancies thus far.
As with most drugs, there can be side effects.
For me, I haven't really noticed any, significant side effects. The only thing possibly is gaining some weight, but not anything significant or cause for concern.
And there are some people who feel a little bit moody, and for some that goes away and for some it doesn't. It's an alcohol-based gel. There are some people who've gotten some skin irritation.
Dr. Crennan says at this point, side effects like these haven't shown up very much in trials.
As far as we can tell, everything looks really promising.
Now, this doesn't mean you'll be able to find this gel at the pharmacy next week or even next month.
My guess would be at least 10 years until we would see this on the market. And I think once you get one product into the market, it helps generate much more talk about it, and I think it will allow better contraception overall.
If the drug does get approved, Daniel and Nina say they would definitely consider getting back on it. And they think it would be nice for men to have the opportunity to shoulder the responsibility of birth control.
In an ideal world, it would sort of flip the script that we have currently, where we sort of, villainize young women who get pregnant as though it's their own fault, and it might put more of the responsibility on young men as well.
Now, what's very interesting about this is, as you can see, feminism creeps in the end, where she says that women are villainized for not taking responsibility. So now we can flip the script and put the responsibility on men. I don't think women seem to understand what they're really saying. You see, women are the gatekeepers of reproduction, while men are the gatekeepers of society and of the relationship. So there's no relationship without the man, but there's no reproduction without the woman. Really, there's no reproduction without either of them. But women are women are the gatekeepers of sex. And that's the best way to put it. Women are the gatekeepers of sex. And this is something that Psych Hacks has said. Without the man or the woman, there are no babies, either of them. But women are the gatekeepers of sex. So they basically decide who gets to have children. The crazy thing about this is that Men don't have this power other than abstinence, because women have contraceptives. Before contraceptives existed, women had to be more accountable, because there were serious consequences if they got pregnant by the wrong man. If they went and got pregnant by Chad or Tyrone, that would be a lifetime of hardship. Okay, that could be a lifetime of hardship before you had contraceptives, and before you had the child support system, where men could basically be taken to court and forced to pay for, a kid that may not even be theirs. And the modern public assistance system, where the government will take care, will basically subsidize the living of a woman who has children, and for men who aren't going to take care of their kids. Now things are changing, though, because if women don't realize the power they will be losing if this actually comes to market. And who knows, maybe it ends up getting blocked, but it doesn't seem like that so far. What we're seeing is that this thing is showing significant promise. And an article just came out. So they've actually been trialing this thing for at least 3 years now. At least 3 years. This was actually the second trial, I think they said. So it may have actually been up to 4 years, 4 or even 5 years, since they started testing this drug in men. And now, fast forward to 2024, we have an article out, and it says male birth control gel kicks in sooner than anticipated, study finds. So they're still testing it. And an emerging option for male birth control might be even more appealing to potential users than expected. Preliminary research released Sunday suggests that Nest T, a once daily gel applied to the shoulder, which we just saw, can effectively suppress men's fertility within a matter of weeks. Nest T is short for the two ingredients it carries, nestrone and testosterone, which we learned. So the first drug, the nestrone, that suppresses the production of sperm, but it also affects the production of testosterone. The testosterone, that basically replaces the testosterone that the man's body stops producing. So nestrone, also known as segesterone acetate, is a synthetic version of progesterone, a hormone that plays a major role in the regulating pregnancy and other reproductive functions. Nestrone and similar drugs are already used as a hormonal birth control for women. When given to men, the drug lowers the level of hormones in the testes responsible for male fertility, including testosterone, which then can lead to low sperm counts. But it also lowers testosterone circulating in the blood, which can counterproductively reduce men's sex drive, among other adverse effects. By reintroducing synthetic testosterone through the gel, the goal is to maintain stable hormone levels in men's bloods, ensuring temporary sterility and minimizing side effects. The gel is being developed with the help of several organizations, including the U.S. government's National Institute of Child Health and Human Development, part of the larger NIH. It's now being tested in a large scale. So this is massive, guys. It's now being tested in a large scale phase trial, which involves around 400 couples. The trial is still ongoing, but researchers have already begun to pour through some of the available data, which has provided encouraging results. In the summer of 2022, for instance, Diane Blythe, chief of the NICHD's contraceptive development program, reported that the NES/T gel's efficiency rate so far appeared to be on par or even better than contraceptive hormone options for women. This is massive. This is massive. In the new research presented over the weekend at Endo 2024, Blythe and her team looked at the timing of the Nest T, let's just call it Nest gel's effectiveness. Based on other studies of hormonal birth control for men, Blythe and her team expected that most men's sperm count would start to sufficiently suppress between the 12 to 14 week mark, but they were pleasantly surprised at how much less time it took for many of their subjects. Of the 222 participants who had their sperm checked within 15 weeks after starting treatment, 86% overall achieved suppression. 86 guys, 86% of participants achieved suppression of their sperm counts. Okay, within 15 weeks. So within 5 weeks, around 20% were suppressed. By 8 weeks, 52% were suppressed, and by 9 weeks, 62% were suppressed. And of those who became suppressed, the median length of time it took was only 8 weeks. So this is massive. This is massive. So, this is very, this is incredible research. It's showing just how effective it is and how quickly this will actually work. Because Blight's team didn't expect these results early on, many participants didn't have their sperm checked between weeks 4 to 8. So it's possible the average time of suppression was even shorter than calculated. So guys, this is madness right now. It could be even shorter because they never estimated that it would actually work this fast. We're really pleased with this result, and we think it makes the gel more attractive to people who maybe didn't want to wait 3 months for it to reach its effectiveness, Blight told Gizmondo over the phone. The findings are still preliminary, and it will take more time for the full phase 2 data to be collected and analyzed, but Blight and her team have been encouraged by everything they've seen to date. In the team's early assessments, the gel appears to be both effective and safe, with minimal side effects for men taking it. I think there's been a lot of bad publicity about hormonal methods for men that make the expectations pretty scary for folks, but that maybe works to our benefit. People enroll and realize, oh, nothing bad happened. That's great, Blight said. We're pretty pleased with the limited side effects that we have observed. Blight and her colleagues are set to meet the FDA next year about the steps needed to begin a large phase 3 trial and are still seeking a commercial partner to help bring Blight to bring the Nest gel to the market. So it will take at least a few more years before men can potentially get their hands on the product. But for now, the future of male birth control is still looking bright. So this is very interesting. And again, there could be pushback from this, but the fact is that this is something that actually being developed by the government itself. So this is being developed by the U.S. government. Funding is being provided by the U.S. government, and the results are very, very good. We have a large, there's going to be we're waiting for approval right now to start the steps needed to begin a large phase of the trial. Meet with the FDA next year. Okay, so they're gonna meet with the FDA next year to start a large phase 3. So I'm guessing this will include thousands of participants. This data will be absolutely incredible, and from what we can see here, it will likely, fingers crossed, because they've been doing this for years now, at least maybe 3 to 4 years. The results are so good that we could actually have a product on the market, it would seem, within the next 5 years. Within the next 5 years, maybe less. So, I mean, guys, once this product is on the market and it has almost 10 years of testing behind it, the truth is that men would jump on this, and it would shift the power massively away from women. Because there's a study that found that women secretly, after women are in a relationship for a certain period of time, they secretly come off birth control. Like a lot of women, like 75% of women, after they get into a stable relationship, they secretly come off their birth control. So they deliberately go and get pregnant and then say that, oh, it was, I forgot to take the pills a few times, or, it's not that effective. Oh, I got pregnant on birth control. When in reality, they weren't taking their pills. They were not taking their pills. So the results here are going to be very, very interesting, because while Chad and Tyrone will be running out there and going wild, and they're like, I'm not taking any gel, I'm not putting any gel on, I'm not taking any birth control, I don't use condoms. Why am I going to use this? Of course, you know how little Pancho is. He slides in and slides out. The average man will just take this and say, like, okay, so all I have to do is apply it on my arm every single day. And even if I miss a day, it's probably not going to kill me. Because, I mean, the reality is, guys, that men are going to be all over this thing. Men are going to be 100% all over this thing. And what we've seen is that even after men come off this, if you like, it still takes around 2 to 6 months before their body returns to normal sperm production. So even if you miss from what we can see, even if you miss a week of taking this, you miss a couple of days, you're still going to be okay. And that is absolutely massive. That is absolutely massive. So most men will not forget to use this. All right, wake up in the morning, rub some gel on your arm. This will be massive peace of mind for men. This shifts the power away from women because a lot of this is safe, it's effective, and most men that are on it are not seeing any adverse side effects. So for the average man, this is going to be insane. You use this, no worrying about kids. No more women saying, "Oh, I'm pregnant." And the thing is that when you take this drug, you have to go and you get tested. So they check your material to make sure that it's not that you can't get a woman pregnant. So this is crazy. So it's like so for a fact, like you'll have your results in your hand, you have your paperwork, like, yeah, I've been on this drug for this time. So if a woman starts saying like, "Oh, I'm pregnant," right? Then you can just basically go to her and say, "Well, I have this paperwork here saying I'm on this drug, and this paperwork says that my swimmers aren't swimming. So I mean, either you're not pregnant or you're trying to extort me for money. So did you have And that's where things become very interesting." Because that's where lawsuits start to get filed. If a woman, believe it or not, if a woman basically claims that she is pregnant with your child, right? You can go to law enforcement. You can go and get an attorney. And you're gonna start seeing men doing this. You're gonna start seeing men doing this. You're gonna see them going to the cops. You're gonna see them go getting an attorney, lawyering up, and saying that I believe that she's trying to extort me, and they're gonna go with the results. And they're gonna go with the results that they have, and they're gonna go and get tested again after the woman tells them that this, and they're gonna show, like, they're gonna have the results before and the results after, showing that there's been no delay in this. And then they're gonna go with the cops, with law enforcement, and they're gonna say basically, you're claiming that you are pregnant, so we want to just verify that you are indeed pregnant. Okay, are you pregnant? And if the cops show up and they ask her, "Are you pregnant?" and she responds, I think I'm pregnant. No, it's not. No, it's not a yes or a no. Did you tell him that you were pregnant? And did you tell him that you need money for the baby? I think I'm pregnant. Okay, so we need a pregnancy test. If she turns around and then suddenly says she's no longer pregnant, or she says, "Yeah, well, I am pregnant." Okay, so the baby is definitely his, right? Yes, the baby is definitely his, even though he's taken this test. So you have not been intimate with another person. So during the time that you're with him, you were not intimate with anyone else. No, I wasn't. I don't remember. Suddenly she has selective memory. Guys, this is extortion. You're going to see a lot of men suing women for extortion when they do this. It is going to shift the balance of power so much. And you're going to see, guys, men are more responsible than women. And you're going to see, because men are held accountable for everything that they do. So you're going to see a huge shift. And you're going to see birth rates fall rapidly. Rapidly. No more accidental pregnancies. Zero, guys, no more accidental pregnancies. If there's an accidental pregnancy with this drug out, that's safe, and it's literally, this is only going to be the first of many, because what it'll do is it will drive the production of newer drugs similar to this that are even safer than this. So this is going to kick off a massive. I've been waiting to talk about. I was predicting that this was going to happen, that the male birth control was going to come soon in the near future, and this was going to change things. And then I saw the article, and I was like, "Holy cow! I was so right. It's coming." And if they don't block it, if the powers that be don't shut it down, guys, this is it. Think about this very carefully. I think it's 2030. Come 2030. 45% of all women in the United States will be childless and single. women between the ages of 25 and 44. That's just the women between the ages of 25 and 44. 45%, guys. That's massive. That's a massive number of women. So women who are in their peak fertility years, and at the end of their fertility years, they will all be childless and single. Childless and single. And then from the ones who are not childless, there will be many who are single. What are women going to do? What are women going to do? You've got crazy people like Elon Musk saying that AI is going to replace all jobs and people are going to have a basic high income, a universal high income. So jobs will be done as hobbies and we're going to live in this utopic bliss. He's lost his damn mind. He's asked, and we can trust the government to allocate funds appropriately to everyone. This is insane. Guys, what will end up happening, and more than likely, is that laws will end up being passed to ensure that companies don't try to run their entire business using only AI. Because if you try to do that, that's when mistakes happen. The governments will go after these companies. Imagine trying to run an insurance company entirely on AI. I used to work in insurance. All right. Imagine trying to replace actuaries, those very intelligent guys who determine what insurance rates should be, using artificial intelligence. AI will lie to you and mess up all of these details. Imagine having auditors, replacing auditors with AI. Absolute stupidity. AI will lie to you, okay? It does these things called hallucinations. It'll give you calculations that don't make any sense. Guys, I've used AI numerous times to run calculations, and then I always go back and check the calculations myself. Of course, Gen Z would never do this because Gen Z is lazy. But having worked in these fields, I do not mess around. You have to make sure the numbers are correct. I just use it as a tool to aid me. It'll pull up formulas and I'll look over the formulas. I also have to check the formulas to make sure it's using the right formulas. But I make sure to check my math. I don't just rely on it. And many times AI is wrong. And then I'll respond like, your calculations are wrong. And I'll explain why it's wrong. And sometimes it'll just say, this conversation has been ended. I think it's time we move on to the next conversation. Or it'll argue with me, telling me that I'm wrong. And then I'll keep going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, sometimes for like 10 or 20 minutes, until finally it'll say, it'll basically say that I'm right and then turn around and say that that's what it said. Like, no, I said that this is what it is. No, bro, it's the answer is 32. You gave me 28. You gave me 28. No, I gave you 32. Please read your previous messages. And I'll copy and paste exactly what it said. And it'll just basically go back and forth until it'll block me and say, I think it's time we move on to the next. It's time we move on to the next conversation. Like this, you cannot trust AI. You can't trust it. So this notion that we're going to be replaced, all of our jobs are instantly going to be replaced. No, AI is only going to work alongside human beings. It's not going to replace human beings. People using AI will replace other human beings. So this is going to be crazy. It's going to be a massive power shift, and women are going to lose their minds when this happens, because it's going to make it much more difficult for them to extract wealth and resources from men. You're going to have a lot of men that are going to be just walking the earth and, going and getting into relationships, like, for example, go to the Philippines, hook up with a Filipina, and, the Filipina's like hoping that she gets pregnant. It doesn't happen. Our women are, guys get married and, the woman no longer has the power in the relationship. The man is on birth control. And of course, men are smart because they know that the woman will tamper with their birth control. Even though like the idea of a man tampering with a woman's birth control is ridiculous, but a woman will tamper with a man's birth control. She'll open up the bottle and pour water in it. She will. This is the kind of thing that a woman will do. She'll open up the bottle and pour water in it. So men have to be smart. But a lot of these men will go and go on the birth control, and some men will even go on the birth control in secret. Some men will go on their birth control in secret, and they will use their gel in secret, put it on in the car, or put it on when they're at work. The woman will never even know about it. All right. Men can be sneaky too. And the woman will literally be there, like wondering why isn't she getting pregnant? And a man will just be chill. Like, can you imagine? Like the woman's like, okay, it's time. I want to have, like, let's say like they do it right, and they're like, she's like, I want to have a baby, and the guy's like, okay, yeah, we're gonna have a baby, yay! So to have the baby, that means that they need to be intimate a lot, right? So guess what? So now the dude, he's just basically getting all of this intimacy multiple times a day for months on end, and she's not getting pregnant. And eventually she's gonna find out what he's doing. When she starts saying that we need to go see a doctor, a fertility doctor, to find out what's going on. The thing is that I could see a woman trying to take the man to court when she finds out that he was using this birth control the entire time, and she'll allege that it was fraud in the relationship, and she might actually be able to. She might actually win, but I don't. It's going to be a hard one because claiming that it was fraud in the relationship. They're already married, and if a woman, the expectation would be this: if a woman was using birth control secretly, when the expectation was to get married, to have children, and the man finds out that she was deliberately avoiding having a child, could she be sued for fraud in the relationship? All right. So the same principle would apply to a man. So it's a hard one there. One way or another, it completely changes the game. Like a man could now say, I don't want to have children. He can go on his birth control, and there's nothing the woman can do about it other than essentially trying to tamper with his birth control. And that in and of itself, tampering with a man's birth control in and of itself, that is fraud. That's something that a woman could possibly go to jail for, if she were to tamper with his birth control, because that's tampering with medicine. If a man tampers with a woman's medicine, he can be arrested for that. So if a woman tampers with a man's medicine, she definitely could go to jail for that. Imagine like she's like, oh, all I did was pour water in it. Yes, and that and we don't know what effect. So think about this. That could actually affect not just the ability to block the not just its potency and its ability to prevent him prevent her from getting pregnant, but it could also damage the testosterone. So for example, he could actually end up having problems with testosterone because the drug is actually replacing testosterone. So if she tampers with it, he could end up becoming very sick. It could create problems and health issues for him. So that's a very serious thing right there. So she could end up getting in a lot of trouble if she were to tamper with his birth control. But I think many of you guys see what I'm saying right now. This is a massive implication, and it sounds like this thing will be on the markets within possibly 5 years, because now because right at this moment they're actually looking for a company to partner with to produce the drug. Once you start looking for a company to produce the drug, and you're now heading to a large trial, that's what typically comes before this thing ends up on the market. And usually the drug will end up on the market within a few years after that. And they may even find other uses for this drug as well. They may even find other uses for this drug, benefits of using the drug. So this is massive. This is absolutely massive. Ozempic is a drug that's, it's finding that it's improving heart health. It's preventing people from having heart attacks, from developing heart disease. Around 30% of Americans are going to be on it, over the next decade. Or maybe over the next 5 years, something like that. It's crazy. It's going to be a massive number. This drug it's making a big deal. And many of you hate it, but it's true. And male birth control, this thing is, guys, so many guys will jump on this thing quickly. So many dudes will jump on this thing right away. Like literally, like this is it. This is if it's effective, widely available, and affordable. And here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing. To my understanding, female contraceptives, I think the pill, female birth control, is covered by insurance. I think like almost every insurance company covers birth control for women. So it would be very strange if this drug was not covered for men. And while insurance companies could try to argue against it, I think that it's going to end up being covered because it'd be fairness. Like, how are you covering female birth control, but you're not covering male birth control? And they could try to argue, well, some women don't use it just for the purpose of not having children, but the purpose of these drugs is primarily to avoid having children. So I think this drug will eventually, if not right off the bat, be covered by insurance. It'll become widely available for pretty much every man, and it will be very good for society. and it's going to take so much power away from women because men can no longer get pregnant. If a man doesn't want to get pregnant, he doesn't have to get pregnant. He doesn't have to have children, and he doesn't have to have any invasive surgery or even take a pill. Just basically like slather some gel on his arm every day and call it a day. This is incredible. This is mind-blowingly incredible. What do you guys think regarding this, guys? Don't forget, I have another channel called Men Walking Away where I release daily videos. If you're enjoying the content on the Angry Guy channel and you want even more of this content, you can head over to Men Walking Away. There's a link in the description of the video. Guys, do you agree that women are going to lose their minds when this happens? The power, the shift of power and the dynamics between men and women is going to be completely changed as a result of this drug and widespread adaptation. And I'm telling you, if men hear about this, they're like, and they hear other dudes are on it, and they hear that this thing is safe, because it's looking like it's very safe. They're really doing a lot of testing. This is not something that, they started that where they did like a couple months of testing and they're like, it's safe and effective. No, this thing has been, they're taking their time. They're testing it for years. The results are excellent. And this is going to drive this generation. If this comes out, what'll end up happening is this will just end up being a part of the first generation of drugs like this one. And then there will be a second generation of drugs. So like, for example, we have Ozempic. This is the first generation. It's like of these types of drugs. There will be a second generation, which will be even more interesting and more effective. All right. It worked. So this is just the first generation. So when it comes to this drug, this will just be the first generation of these drugs. And the fact that now they have an idea of how to make this work successfully, other drugs will come out that will be effective, that will maybe even a type of implant for men that can, be implanted under the skin. Like, women have implants that can go under the skin and their arms, I believe, that it can help prevent pregnancy. And even those might become options for men that can release a small amount of this drug over time. Yeah, guys, it's crazy. It's absolutely insane. And not just that. I mean, right now we also have this, this drug is available as a gel, but eventually it may also be available as a pill. But for a lot of guys, just, even just as a gel, it's plenty. Even just as a gel, it's plenty. Like, just like, this is so simple, guys. Like, just rub it on your arm every morning. Like, oh, here's some gel. Just rub the gel on your arm and you're good, bro. What do you guys think? Do you agree that women are going to lose their minds when men start using this and the balance of power shifts? Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA and walking away. And cheers.